How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back to get another review. Yeah, a little bit of is it beer or isn't it ain't beer kind of time. Does that make sense? I don't know, but it's Richmond, Virginia beer time in the form of the Vale Brewing's Mango Boy Tastee. Yeah, never had this before. Actually, a coworker of mine was right outside the Vale on a sales trip. He popped in there and said, "Hey man, do you want any stuff from there?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he came back with a couple different cans, and this was one of them. I've had a couple Vale beers. I've reviewed them. Some of them I got through kind of local people. Some of them I actually got through mail. Last one I reviewed, I think, was their Little Kitty Boy Day Off. I think it was what it was called. So yeah, that was sent me by Ryan down there in Virginia Way. These guys are based out of Richmond, Virginia. This is a sour ale with, let's see, raspberries, boysenberries, no, sorry, mangoes, boysenberries, and lactose. It's 5.5% alcohol by volume. So, there was a moniker, or not a moniker, a warning, that's the word I'm looking for, on their kind of social media post that they put up for this beer, which was, there is a ton of fruit in here, so you got to make sure you keep it really cold. So, going into this, I have preconceived notions. I'm assuming this is probably their version of kind of like the Answers Juice kind of line. Who knows? You'll know in a couple minutes after we drink it. What's it say in the can? It says Mango Boy Tastee. Let's see, government warning stuff. Like I said, it was the mangoes, sour ale, mangoes, boysenberries, and lactose, 5.5% alcohol by volume. She was canned, today is the 31st. It was canned on the 30th, so it's a day old, and that'd be that. Yeah, likewise, it's cool. It's a little nice trim cone, drawn hipsterly, but I don't mind it. Anyway, let's see what we have here. So, you know, the Answer Brewing down there, very close to these guys, does their juice series, and it's not all that much beer in there. It's a lot of just kind of fruit and sweetness and sugar and juice. It tastes good, but it's not really a beer. Again, I don't want to go into this with a ton of preconceived notions, but I'm kind of getting the vibe, especially from what they're kind of calling it, as far as what's in it ingredient-wise, to kind of how it looks right now. We're kind of on the same thing. So yeah, almost 2 pink index fingers of like pink, pillowy, kind of soft, creamy kind of goodness. It definitely looks like whipped cream on top of kind of like trifle or tart or something like that. Followed by deep, rich kind of boysenberries, sure, whatever, raspberry looking kind of coloredness. So does she look like a beer? Sure, she kind of looks like, you know, a little bit kind of Cantillon creaky, if anything. But yeah, definitely kind of rich, dense, thick, hazy, and fruity looking. See if we can get a nose on her. Big pour here. My bad. Get a little bit of sweet tart kind of vibes going on there. Get a little bit of that little tart sourness. Nothing too big. You definitely getting like a fruity kind of jammy kind of sweetness off of it. Yeah, it's not as vibrant as you think, but something so colorful like this, you'd expect there to be this kind of big pop of either sweetness or tartness or whatever, but you're not really getting that. You're just getting this soft kind of earthy kind of real fruit jamminess out of it. You're not really getting in much beer. You're just getting kind of fruit. So yeah, let's dive in, see what she's got. Cheers. That's tasty. Yeah, again, you're getting like a kind of, I guess you would say boysenberry. I've actually never eaten a boysenberry. But you're getting like a kind of generic, kind of purpley, reddish berry, earthy kind of fleshiness that's real, which is kind of cool. It's borderline jammy, but not really there. It's kind of more like a kind of pureed kind of vibe going on, which kind of makes sense. I assume that's what a lot of this beer is, just a big, huge amounts of puree kind of dumped into a beer. A bit of sweetness in there, nothing too crazy. That tart kind of berry, slightly acidic, freshy, fruity kind of sourness is just above that sweetness. There's, there's a carbonation in there. there's a beer somewhere in there, but it's definitely kind of trumped by this kind of fruit smoothie vibe going on. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's tasty. It's tasty. Is it beer? That's up for debate. I mean, it has beer-esqueness to it. It has a soft kind of carbonation to it. It does have a low kind of, I wouldn't even call it a sour, more like a funky tartness, like kind of like a saison, like a funky saison vibe to it. Underneath all that kind of rich, kind of almost jammy kind of berryness under that pureness. But it's more kind of just a ton of fruit and a bit of lactose to kind of sweeten all that up, thrown at a beer. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, you give me this every now and then just for a dessert after dinner, or just something that I want, you know, just kind of the chug on the side of a bunch of huge IPAs or stouts. I'm all about it, but to call it beer is a really big stretch, and that's kind of what a lot of those kind of beers like this, or this beer is trying to be, I should say that, with kind of the whole Answer Juice series, and everybody's doing these kind of super fruit-forward beers. They're tasty, they're nice, but they're not really beer. It's kind of like the double IPA kick everybody's on. It's, you know, it's a ton of sweetness and stripped bitterness, and while it's still closer to beer than this, it's kind of getting out of the confined box that beer is kind of lived in for so long. That's not a bad thing. I love creativeness. I love people pushing the boundaries. I love different things being tried. But to kind of call this a beer is a little bit... I don't know. Just on the edge. I'd still call it a beer, actually. I shouldn't even poop on it that much. It's very, very, very dicey. You can go either way. Let's put it that way. If someone said, that's not a beer, I'd be like, okay. If someone said, that's beer, I'm like, sure. Whatever. But then again, I'm not that one to kind of fucking really kind of bang on, you know, the box, the compartmentalizing of beer. I like that kind of thinking outside the box thing, so it kind of works for me. Let's put it that way. I like it more than I'm letting on. Let's put it that way. Let's talk about it. Is it one of the better, I don't even know what to call these, heavily fruited beers as of late? Sure, it's fine. I haven't had a ton of exposure to them. I think this is the only one I've ever reviewed. All the other stuff that I've had has been in line shares and shit like that. So, yeah, it's nice. It's fine. It's its own genre, and what it's pulling off well. Value and availability, it's like $16 for a 4-pack, I think. Brewery only, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like those other beers, you know, Answer Juice, those run quite a bit sweeter than what this usual one is. But if you like these kind of super fruit-forward kind of beers, or conversely, if you kind of dig on like fruited lambics like Cantillon and the Creek and stuff like that, but you don't want the sour component there, it's kind of what it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of like taking those kind of beers and stripping out that uber kind of beautifulness that is the sourness and the funkiness of the beer, and kind of leaving behind that just super fruitiness. So, or if you like fruit smoothies and you kind of like a little bit of beer with your fruit smoothie, you'd like this beer. So yeah, it's tasty, it's nice. It's kind of like, you know, it's getting into that realm of the kind of not your father's root beer, where it's like not really beer, it's kind of alcopop. This is kind of fruit smoothie beer as opposed to just being beer. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, anywhere in between, down there, Words and Stuff and Things. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers, all 4 of those places. Beer Massive, MASSIF, for the podcasting folks out there. Quite a bit different stuff than I do here on Beer Massive, or Massive Beers. It's a lot of podcasting stuff, so go there, check it out, and go to your podcasting app and type in Beer Massive, and check out all that bits and pieces of audio deliciousness, and there you go. Another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice little fruit smoothie right now, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers.